Oh hey, Vaishnava Thakur, Goyara Sagada, Dasa Kuruna Kori. Translation. Vaisesika is a tower. Translation. O Venerable Vaishnava Thakur, Krishna mercy, be merciful to this servant of yours, and purify me with the shade of your lotus feet. Your lotus feet I humbly hold. By helping me control the 6 urges, and purifying me of the 6 faults, bestow upon your servant the 6 good qualities. O Master, please give me the 6 kinds of holy association. I have sat down here hoping to have your company. Alone I do not find the strength to chant the holy name of Hari. Please be merciful and blessing me with a drop of faith. Bestow on me the great treasure of the holy name of Krishna. Krishna is yours, and you can give him to me, for such is your power. This wretch is simply running behind me, crying, Krishna, Krishna. Oh hey Vaishnava Thakur, Goyara Sagada, Dasa Kuruna Kori. Para chaya shuro he amar tomara charana jori. Chaya vega jori, chaya dosha shoji, chaya guna deho dase. Chaya vega jori, chaya dosha shoji, chaya guna deho dase. Chaya satsanga Deo he amare gosashi sangera she. Chaya satsanga Deo he amare gosashi sangera she. Ekaki amar nahi par bhalo Hare Nama Sankirtane. Ekaki amar nahi paya bhalo Hare Nama Sankirtane. Tumi kripa kori shadha bindu diya Deho Krishna Nama Dhane. Tumi kripa kori shadha bindu diya Deho Krishna Nama Dhane. Krishna se tomar, Krishna ji te paro, Tumara shakti ache. Amito Kanga Krishna Krishna Mori Gaeta Pache Pache. Amito Kanga Krishna Krishna Mori Gaeta Vaishnava Thakur Doyala Sagara Edase Karuna Kori Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Vaishnava Thakur Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Ujjvala Varana. Ujjvala Varana Godavarati Vilasita Niravani Bhava Videham Tribhuna Pavana Kripayalesham Dhammana Mamicha Shri Shakti Kandayam Jadgat Antara Bhava Vikaram Durjana Tarjana Naga Vishalam Pavapaya Vajana Karuna Karunam Tamdana Mamicha Shri Shakti Kandayam Aranam Bharadara Charika Indu Vinindita Nakachaya Ruchiram Galatitan Jaguna Nama Vinodam Sampranamami Cha Shri Shakti Kandayam Digalitam Nayana Kamala Jaladaram Ushanaravarasa Bhava Vikaram Gatyati Mantara Nitya Vilasam Sandana Manicha Shri Shakti Kandayam Gatyati Mantara Nitya Vilasam Chanchala Charu Charana Gati Ruchira Manjira Ranjita Pada Jika Mathuram Chandra Vindita Shitala Vadanam Tampranamami Cha Shri Shakti Kandayam Yityakale Varam Vitamundam Sadhuna Kamala Dalanayana Ajanulam Diktashi Vijayugalam Dalevaraktai Shora Nartakaresham Kamharamamicha Shri Shakti Tanaya Jai Sachinandana Jaya Gaura Hari Jai Sachinandana Jai Sachinandana Jai Sachinandana Jai Gaura Hari Jai Sachinandana Jai Sachinandana Jai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Jai Gaura Hari Bol Jai Gaura Hari Go Premanande, Shri Sachinandan Gaura Hari Ki Jai. Selected verses, translations from the 10th canto. She got 5 more days to memorize. Otherwise, no prashadam. Ready? Yes. But first, let's do the disciplic succession one. Please. And Shamalangi, can you make a slide of this? Thank you. Krishna Brahma Narada Vyasa Madhva Padmanabha Nrihari Madhava Akshobhya Jayatirtha Jnana Sindhu Dayanidhi Vidyanidhi Rajendra Jayadharma Purushottama Brahmanyatirtha Vyasatirtha Lakshmipati Madhavendra Puri Ishvara Puri Nityananda Advaita Lord Chaitanya Rupa Swarupa Sanatana Raghuna Jiva Krishna Das Narottama Vishwanath Baladev Jagannath Bhakti Vinod Gaura Kishore Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the Parampara system. That is, it is conveyed from the spiritual master to the disciple. Such glorification is relished by those no longer interested in the false temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord except a butcher or one who is killing his own self? Because of my vow on the verge of death, I have given up even drinking water. Yet because I am drinking the nectar of topics about Krishna, which is flowing from the lotus mouth of your Lordship, my hunger and thirst, which are extremely difficult to bear, hinder me. The Ganges emanating from the toe of Lord Vishnu purifies the three worlds, the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. Similarly, when one asks questions about the pastimes and characteristics of Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, three varieties of men are purified: the speaker or preacher, he who inquires, and the people in general who listen. O lotus-eyed Lord, by concentrating one's meditation on your lotus feet, which are the reservoir of all existence, and by accepting those lotus feet as the boat by which to cross the ocean of nescience, one follows in the footsteps of Mahajanas, great saints and sages and devotees. By this simple process, one can cross the ocean of nescience as easily as one steps over the hoofprint of a calf. Someone may say that aside from the devotees who always seek shelter at the Lord's lotus feet, there are those who are not devotees, but who have accepted different processes for attaining salvation. What happens to them? In answer to this question, Lord Brahma and the other demigods said, O lotus-eyed Lord, although non-devotees who accept severe austerities and penances to achieve the highest position may think themselves liberated, their intelligence is impure. They fall down from their position of imagined superiority because they have no regard for your lotus feet. O Lord, your transcendental name and form are not ascertained by those who merely speculate on the path of imagination. Your name, form, and attributes can be ascertained only through devotional service. Even while engaged in various activities, devotees whose minds are completely absorbed at your lotus feet, and who constantly hear, chant, contemplate, and cause others to remember your transcendental names and forms, are always on the transcendental platform, and thus they can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. O my Lord, O great devotee, persons like you move from one place to another, not for their own interests, but for the sake of poor-hearted grahastas, householders. Your son Krishna appears as an incarnation in every millennium. In the past, he assumed 3 different colors, white, red, and yellow, and now he has appeared in a blackish color. In another Dwapara Yuga, he appeared as Lord Ramachandra in the color of Shuka, a parrot. All such incarnations have now assembled in Krishna. Having heard of the great fortune of Mother Yashoda, Parikshit Maharaj inquired from Shukadev Goswami, O learned Brahmana, Mother Yashoda's breast milk was sucked by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What past auspicious activities did she and Nanda Maharaj perform to achieve such perfection and ecstatic love? The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the son of Mother Yashoda, is accessible to devotees engaged in spontaneous loving service. But he is not as easily accessible to mental speculators, to those striving for self-realization by severe austerities and penances, or to those who consider the body the same as the self. Those who engage in self-realization, appreciating the Brahman effulgence of the Lord, and who engage in devotional service, accepting the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Master, as well as those who are under the clutches of Maya, thinking the Lord an ordinary person, cannot understand that certain exalted personalities, after accumulating volumes of pious activities, are now playing with the Lord in friendship as cowherd boys. Those who, even while remaining situated in their established social positions, throw away the process of speculative knowledge with their body, words, and mind, offer all respects to descriptions of your personality and activities, dedicating their lives to these narrations, which are vibrated by you personally and by your pure devotees, certainly conquer your lordship, although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within the three worlds. My dear Lord, devotional service unto you is the best path for self-realization. If someone gives up that path and engages in the cultivation of speculative knowledge, he will simply undergo a troublesome process and will not achieve his desired result. As a person who beats an empty husk of wheat cannot get grain, one who simply speculates cannot achieve self-realization. His only gain is trouble. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds, and offering your respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. My Lord, if one is favored by even a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue to study the Vedas for many years. For those who have accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation, and is famous as Murari, the enemy of the Mura demon, the ocean of the material world is like the water contained in a calf's hoofprint. Their goal is Parampadam, Vaikuntha, the place where there are no material miseries, not the place where there is danger at every step. It is the duty of every living being to perform welfare activities for the benefit of others with his life, wealth, intelligence, and words. Persons who constantly direct their lust, anger, fear, protective affection, feeling of impersonal oneness, or friendship toward Lord Hari are sure to become absorbed in thought of him. The nectar of your words and the descriptions of your activities are the life and soul of those suffering in this material world. These narrations transmitted by learned sages eradicate one's sinful reactions and bestow good fortune upon whoever hears them. These narrations are broadcast all over the world and are filled with spiritual power. Certainly those who spread the message of Godhead are most munificent. Shukadeva Goswami said, the status of powerful controllers is not harmed by any apparently audacious transgression of morality we may see in them, for they are just like fire, which devours everything fed into it and remains unpolluted. Anyone who faithfully hears or describes the Lord's playful affairs with the young gopis of Vrindavan will attain the Lord's pure devotional service. Thus he will quickly become sober and conquer lust, the disease of the heart. O lotus-eyed one, great souls like Lord Shiva hanker to bathe in the dust of your lotus feet, and thereby destroy their ignorance. If I cannot obtain your mercy, I shall simply give up my vital force, which will have become weak from the severe penances I will perform. Then after hundreds of lifetimes of endeavor, I may obtain your mercy. Who am I? A sinful poor friend of a Brahmana. And who is Krishna? The Supreme Personality of Godhead, full in 6 opulences. Nonetheless, he has embraced me with his two arms. Rendering devotional service to me qualifies any living being for eternal life. But by your good fortune, you have developed a special loving attitude toward me, by which you have attained me. The gopis spoke thus: Dear Lord, whose navel is just like a lotus flower, your lotus feet are the only shelter for those who have fallen into the deep well of material existence. Your feet are worshipped and meditated upon by great mystic yogis and highly learned philosophers. We wish that these lotus feet may also be awakened within our hearts, although we are only ordinary persons engaged in household affairs. One who identifies his self as the inert body composed of mucus, bile, and air, who assumes his wife and family are permanently his own, who thinks an earthen image of the land of his birth is worshipable, and who sees a place of pilgrimage as merely the water there, but who never identifies himself with, feels kinship with, worships, or even visits those who are wise in spiritual truth. Such a person is no better than a cow or an ass. The personality of Godhead said, if I especially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of his wealth. Then the relatives, friends of such a poverty-stricken man abandon him. In this way, he suffers one distress after another. Lord Sri Krishna is he who is known as Jananivasa, the ultimate resort of all living entities, and who is also known as Devaki Nandana or Yashoda Nandana, the son of Devaki and Yashoda. He is the guide of the Yadu dynasty, and with his mighty arms he kills everything inauspicious, as well as every man who is impious. By his presence he destroys all things inauspicious for all living entities, moving and inert. His blissful smiling face always increases the lusty desires of the gopis of Vrindavan. May he be all glorious and happy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. Would you all like to perform the Guru Vandanam, Guru Puja at this time? Let's do. We could start with the translations. Today we'll go backwards. We'll just stay here for a minute. Not literally backwards, but starting with the Guru Vandanam and then going backwards. Starting with the Guru Vandanam translations, which is the Guru Puja prayers we sing, and then going sequentially backwards. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. Can anybody give a verse that substantiates that from the Shastra? Say yes. Okay, give it now. Yes. Aparagarangi. She's substantiating the statement, the lotus feet of our spiritual master, the only way which can attain pure devotional service. Please go ahead.
The verse which I was thinking was from the 7th canto, 9th chapter. Itham niti rishideva jashavat. Sorry, not that one. Evam janam na patitam prabhavahi kupe. Kama bikamam anuya prapatam prasangat. Kritvatmasat surashinam bhagavan grihita. Soham katham na visacheta vabritya sevam. So in this verse, Prahlad Maharaj is saying that how can he give up the service to his spiritual master? Because it is because of the mercy of the spiritual master he is able to get out of the dark well of material existence.
Well done, well done. I bow down to his lotus feet. Stay ready, in a ready state. Anything can happen. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and Master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. O my Lord. No, keep going backwards. Please. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they are endowed with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma. For you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Supersoul, to deliver the embodied living being by directing him how to come to you. One should know the instructing spiritual master to be the personality of Krishna. Lord Krishna manifests himself as the Supersoul and as the greatest devotee of the Lord. The initiating spiritual master is the personal manifestation of Srila Madan Mohan Vigraha, whereas the instructing spiritual master is a personal representative of Srila Govinda Dev Vigraha. According to the deliberate opinion of all revealed scriptures, the spiritual master is non-different from Krishna. Lord Krishna in the form of the spiritual master. Okay, give evidence for the first sentence. According to deliberate opinion. Okay, go ahead. Madhuri Saki. Who? Oh, all right. Who's behind me? Go ahead. No, say it in the mic and explicate. Give a class on it.
Acharya mam vijaniya navamanyeta karichit namartya buddhya suyeta sarvadeva mayo guru. So in this verse, Krishna is saying you should not consider the Acharya to be different than me. Not think of him with a material mindset that he's just a normal person. And he's talking about this as this is the Guru, Sarvadeva Mayo Guru.
Okay, give another one. Give you a hint. It's something you sing every day if you're doing a complete morning program. Okay, raise your hand and then go ahead, Shraddha.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Sakshat Haritvena Samasta Shastar Uktasata Bhavita Evisadbhi Kintu Prabhu Ye Priya Evatasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaramindam.
Means?
So it says that the spiritual master is not different from Lord Krishna. That is what is said by
Which
Paul.
words are saying that? Yeah.
Say that again, Maharaj.
Which words in Sanskrit say that?
Sakshat Haritvena is your embodiment
Directly.
of Krishna, directly representing
Okay.
Krishna. Sakshat Haritvena Samasta Shastra, all the scriptures say that. Sakshat Haritvena Samasta Shastra Ukta Tatha Bhavita Evisadbhi, and also the learned men, the sadhus also say that.
Very good, very good. Sadhu, sadhu. You know, that verse, Sakshat Dari Tvaimastamasta Shastra Ruktastata. To me, it sounds really awkward to say Uktastata, because it's like one sentence going across and it ends with the last sentence. If you look at it divided into 4 lines, the last word ends with an R, and it goes better, Ruktastata. But you say Uktastata, to me it sounds weird. I'm not saying what you said is weird. I'm just saying in general, people say Uktastata, and I think it's abominable. Okay, The relationship of a disciple with his spiritual master is as good as his relationship with the Supreme Lord. Spiritual masters always represent themselves as the humblest servitors of the personality of Godhead, but the disciple must look upon the spiritual master as the manifested representation of Godhead. Although I know that my spiritual master is a servitor of Sri Chaitanya, I know him also as a plenary manifestation of the Lord. Every living entity is eternally a servant of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Therefore, the spiritual master cannot be other than a servant of Lord Chaitanya. The spiritual master's eternal occupation is to expand the service of the Lord by training disciples in a service attitude. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I have fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore, grace me with your mercy so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Shachi Mata, the association of Srila Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami and his older brother Sanatan Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the spiritual abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radha Kund and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Sri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. Without serving the representative Krishna, nobody can approach Krishna. Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhagavati. Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhagavati Sadhana Bando mui savadana mate. Jahara prasade bhai he bhavato Diya Jai. Krishna Prapti Hoy Jaha Hoy Te. Padma Vakya Titek Toriya Aitya. motiloje janne janne kabute Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Advaita Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah. Gopal Govinda Ram Sriman Sunan. Sri Hari Gopinath Madan Mohan. Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita Shri Rudranatham Bhaktaraduna Shri Gopal Bhakta Bhaktaraduna Chai Gosai Kori Charanamanan Jaha Hoite Vignanash Abhishta Puran Chai Gosai Jar Muitar Jar Sansavara Pararinu Mora Panchagar Kanera Charana Seve Bhakta Sanibar Chaname Chaname Hoye Abilar Chai Gosai Jate Braja Koilabas Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Koila Prakash Shri Shri Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Koila Prakash. Get ready! Bolo Anande Bolo Hare Bhaja Vrindavan Bolo Anande Bolo Hare Bhaja Vrindavan Vaishnava Pari Madhami Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pari Padma Koriya Hari Nam Se Kirtan Kohe Narottamo Das Hari Nam Se Kirtan Kohe Narottamo Das Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, go, 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 Nam Bhajan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh! Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna. Gaura Premanande Haribo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare. Namaste. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jayo Vishnupat Hamsa Parivrajikacharya Shrutarishta Shishimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayo Vishnupat Paramhamsa Parivrajikacharya Shrutarishta Shishimad. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki. Ananta Kuli Vaishwamindi Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Zagaho Shri Krishna. Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinam Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki. Shri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki. Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki. Sambhita Bhaktivinoda Ki. All glories to some of the devotees. All glories to some of the devotees. All glories to some of the devotees. Gaur Premanande Haribo. Srimad Bhagavatam. Darshanam Kuru. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janda Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana. Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana. Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana. Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana. Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana. Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana. Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana. Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana. Jamuna Tira Manachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya Naram chaiva narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Srimad Bhagavatam, story of Kaliya. In the Prabhupada's discussion of the appearance of Krishna, which we're anticipating quite readily now that we finished with Balaram Purnima, there's a obvious sequence of events that take place by Krishna's arrangement. And in the story of the advent of Lord Krishna in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is being recounted by Shukadev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj, because Parikshit Maharaj is eager to hear about the pastimes of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, at the end of 10th canto, chapter 1, the last verse is 69, which says, Kamsa, the most powerful son of Ugrasena, even imprisoned his own father, the king of Yadu, Bhoja, and Antaka dynasties, and personally ruled the states known as Shurasena. It's the end of that chapter. Srila Prabhupada gives some additional notes. And I'm going to read a few excerpts from those notes that Prabhupada gives at the end of the chapter. As you may remember, Vasudeva had been married to Devaki. On the wedding day, there was a procession home, and Kamsa, sister of Devaki, was driving the chariot as a favor to his sister. But then when he heard prophecy from the sky, that seventh offspring from his sister would kill him, and that he was foolish for sheltering her, he stopped the chariot, grabbed her hair, and pulled his sword. And during that time, Devaki was helpless, and Vasudeva then began to reason with Kamsa. He mentioned how everyone gets the karma from their past lives, and spoke to him about Atma-tattva Gyan. Then he appealed to his sense of political reputation. It wouldn't be good for him to kill his own sister. Seemingly should be obvious. And finally he said that I will offer you any of the offspring, and then you can do as you wish. Because when somebody's in a dangerous situation, as is mentioned in this chapter, that one has to do everything possible to stay alive. It's very important to protect one's life, because it's a gift. It's been given to us by material nature, by the arrangement of Krishna, and it is specifically meant for crossing the ocean of material existence, so one should not easily give it up. One should try to protect it as much as possible. In fact, we hear in the beginning of the Bhagavatam a general statement about that, kamasya nendriya pritir labo jiveti yavata, that one should live a healthy life, or as is translated, life of self-preservation, because one needs this body and the senses we have been endowed with as humans to try to engage in the Lord's service, purify the senses, and go back to Godhead. So Vasudeva did everything he possibly could. And Kamsa finally capitulated to the idea that he would be in control somewhat, because he believed Vasudeva. Vasudeva had a mystic power because he was so truthful in all circumstances, without question. Everybody believed him. And so did Kamsa. And then Kamsa had been informed by Narada, who wanted to expedite the pastimes of Krishna, that there's a conspiracy going on here. He used the old conspiracy theory thing to agitate Kamsa's mind, and told him that actually any of the children could be the cause of your death. Probably everyone's conspiring against you, and Kamsa became much more vehement in his prosecution of his mission to kill Krishna, and so he started killing all children. So there's a few notes that I want to bring out in this last section of the Advent of Lord Krishna introduction. And here we have, I can't tell you page numbers, but if you just listen, this is a comment Prabhupada makes. In the commentary of Sri Viraraghava Acharya, the following extra verse is accepted after text 23. O demigods, even great sages following the order of Vishnu, appeared in the forms of cows and calves to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead by delivering milk. Ramanujacharya sometimes accepts Baladev as a Shakya Vaishavatar, but Srila Jiva Goswami has explained that Baladev is an expansion of Krishna, and that a part of Baladev is Sankarsana. Although Baladev is identical with Sankarsana, he is the origin of Sankarsana. Therefore, the word Swarat has been used to indicate that Baladev always exists in his own independence. The word Swarat also indicates that Baladev is beyond the material conception of existence. Maya cannot touch him. But because he is fully independent, he can appear by his spiritual potency wherever he likes. Maya is fully under the control of Vishnu because the material potency and Yoga Maya mingle in the Lord's appearance. They are described as ekanamsha. Sometimes ekanamsha is interpreted to mean without differentiation. Sankarshan and Sheshanaga are identical, as stated by Yamuna Devi. O Rama, O great armed master of the world, who have extended yourself throughout the entire universe by one plenary expansion, it is not possible to understand you fully. Therefore, Ekamsha refers to Sheshanaga. In other words, Baladev merely by his partial expansion sustains the entire universe. And then a little further along, Prabhupada comments, from this statement it is to be understood that Yoga Maya, in her partial expansion, becomes Mahamaya and bewilders the conditioned souls. In other words, the entire creation has two divisions, transcendental or spiritual and material. Yoga Maya manages the spiritual world, and by her partial expansion as Mahamaya, she manages the material world. As stated in the Narada Pancharatra, Mahamaya is a partial expansion of Yogamaya. The Narada Pancharatra clearly states that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has one potency, which is sometimes described as Durga. The Brahma Samhita says, Chayeva yasya bhuvanani viparta Durga. Durga is not different from Yogamaya. When one understands Durga properly, he is immediately liberated. For Durga is originally the spiritual potency, Hladini Shakti, by whose mercy one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead very easily. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Hladini Shakti Rasmad. The Mahamaya Shakti, however, is a covering of Yogamaya, and she is therefore called the covering potency. By this covering potency, the entire material world is bewildered. Yaya samohito jagat. Yaya samohitam jagat. In conclusion, bewildering the conditioned souls and liberating the devotees are both functions belonging to Yogamaya. Transferring the pregnancy of Devaki and keeping Mother Yashoda in deep sleep were both done by Yogamaya. Mahamaya cannot act upon such devotees, for they are always liberated. But although it is not possible for Mahamaya to control liberated souls or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, she did bewilder Kamsa. The action of Yogamaya in presenting herself before Kamsa was the action of Mahamaya, not Yogamaya. Yogamaya cannot even see or touch such polluted persons as Kamsa. In Chandi, in the Markandeya Purana, 11th chapter, Mahamaya says, during the 28th Yuga, in the period of Vaivasvatamanu, I shall take birth as the daughter of Yashoda and be known as Vindhyajala Vasini. The distinction between the two Mayas, Yogamaya and Mahamaya, is described as follows. Krishna's Rasa Leela with the gopis and the gopis' bewilderment in respect to their husbands, fathers-in-law, and other such relatives were arrangements of Yogamaya, in which Mahamaya had no influence. The Bhagavatam gives sufficient evidence of this when it clearly says Yogamayam Upashrita. On the other hand, there were asuras headed by Shalva and Kshatriyas like Duryodhan, who were bereft of devotional service in spite of seeing Krishna's carrier, Garuda, and the universal form, and who could not understand Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This was also bewilderment, but this bewilderment was due to Mahamaya. Therefore, it is to be concluded that the Maya, which drags a person from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is called Jadamaya, and the Maya, which acts on the transcendental platform, is called Yogamaya. When Nanda Maharaj was taken away by Varuna, he saw Krishna's opulence, but nonetheless he thought of Krishna as his son. Such feelings of parental love in the spiritual world are acts of Yogamaya, not of Jadamaya or Mahamaya. This is the opinion of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So the Srimad Bhagavatam notes in various places how, according to the consciousness of the devotee, one sees Krishna in various ways. Itam satam brahma sukhana bhutya dasyam katanam paradaivatena mayashitanam naradarakena sakam vrajaru krita punya punjaha. This is a observation by Shukadeva Goswami, and speaking to Parikshit Maharaj about the various observations of people. First he says, Itam satam brahma sakanu bhutya. As some people, they just see God as impersonal, Brahman. That's all they can see. And others see God, those with reverence, see him as the Almighty. And then there are others, Mayashritanam Naradarakena, because they're affected by Mahamaya, they just see him as an ordinary person. You can't see the difference. Sakambrajaru Krita Punya Punja. But those who have attained this Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti by the mercy of association with devotees, they have the privilege of associating with Krishna directly. And in this context, they are playing with Krishna as little boys, because that's what Shukadeva is describing, is how Krishna was playing with his friends. And they were sporting, imitating monkeys. They were yelling into empty wells and hearing the echo and then cursing the echo. And they're flapping their arms like they were imitating the birds. And this was a great surprise to Parikshit Maharaj. How had they attained this? So then he gives this clarity that according to one's fortunate position or unfortunate position, one may be able to see or not see Krishna. And here we find that there's one energy, as Prabhupada has described it. It's all Yogamaya. But when one becomes estranged from Krishna by one's own will, then that separation is apparent. Bhayam dvitiya abhinibesha tasyat ishat apetasya viparyo smriti. There's a sense of separation from God, and one lives within the fearful situation of the material world. This is still the Lord's one energy, but it's acting differently because of one's own disposition towards the Lord, which is described apetasya. One's turned away, one's turned one's face away from the Lord. Viparyo smriti, and one's mentality is opposite that of one's real nature. One's living in an artificial state. So then one sees the darkness and feels fear. Tanmayata Buddha. There's a way in which this is described by Kavi Yogendra. This is the potency of the Lord. It's the internal potency of the Lord. And then it manifests as Mahamaya. And it has the potency for bewilderment. And as Prabhupada describes, this Mahamaya has two specific characteristics. One is the, as he calls it, the throwing potency, and the other is the covering potency. Throwing potency means that one can be comported to a destination far away from the devotees and from the Lord if one allows oneself to drift into Maya. She can push you away. And then the other aspect is covering, where she can allow us to forget our true interest in life and think that I'm getting ahead by working hard to organize myself in the material world to be successful. And so the advice given by Hari Yogendra is to turn one's attention back to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Buddha Abhajetvam, an intelligent person then, therefore, Buddha Abhajetvam Bhaktyayika Yesham Guru Devatama, means that that person then can give one-pointed attention towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that brings up one of the simple points of the process of Krishna consciousness. So we need a simple point. And that is that if we have clarity about our ultimate self-interest and our ultimate object of meditation, UOM, then whenever we become aware of it, we can, or very deliberately by our sadhana, we can stay fully aware of the ultimate object of meditation, which is Krishna. And there are various ways to do that. Tasmat ekena manasa. One should keep one's mind focused on the ultimate object of meditation all the time. Tasmat ekena manasa. This is a conclusive statement or a concluding statement. Tasmad means therefore. Coming to a conclusion, Sutta Goswami is saying, Tasmad ekena manasa. He has talked about the ways in which the ultimate good for everybody is to be in contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, either through Varnashrama. The ultimate goal is to remember Krishna, the ultimate object of meditation. And he describes how the Lord has various features, but the topmost feature is Bhagavan. And he talks about how one should fortify oneself through hearing and chanting and have some devotional power, Gyan and Vairagya. And then he gives this conclusion after saying that whatever you do with your senses and however you organize your life, the ultimate result of it is to be able to remember Krishna. Tasmat ekena manasa bhagavan sattvatambati. And he describes in a very sweet way how Krishna is our protector. He's on our side. He's the pati of the sattvatas. Those who are sincere about making advancement in devotional service are called sattvatas. They're truthful. Sattvatam pati. And then how do you do it? How do you stay focused on the ultimate object of meditation? Shrotavya, which means you should hear. So the typical devotional process, sadhana, for a bhakti yogi is to hear daily, regularly. If you skip a day, it's too much of a gap to hold one's position against Mahamaya. If you miss a day, that could derail it could delay your process of advancing in devotional service and expose you too much to the Mahamaya of the material world. So one should, every day, arrange to hear about Krishna. And there's two kinds of Krishna Katha, as we heard yesterday. One kind is to hear the pastimes of Krishna, as described in the Srimad Bhagavatam by Shukadeva Goswami, and the other is to hear Krishna's personal instructions from the Bhagavad Gita. Either one. It should be on a regular daily basis, at least something. Kirtitavyas, then you should describe it. So if you take time, let's say early in the morning, and hear something about Krishna, then the likely application would be, if you live in an ashram, either as a grahastha or a brahmachari, would then be to discuss what you just heard. Now, if you hear something else that's not related to Krishna, something random, then the tendency will be to discuss that. So if one hears about Krishna regularly and then incidentally or deliberately, more important or more helpful, discusses it with others and brings it up. I have a godbrother who every morning listens to a lecture of Prabhupada. And then whenever the end of the morning comes, he always talks about what he heard. He'll just say this, that. People who might be around him might think for the first 2 seconds, oh no, he's going to start talking Krishna Katha. We wanted to talk something random, but he's going to say something from Krishna Katha. But on the third second, there is a sense of relief from the onslaught of the material nature and thinking, oh good, at least I'll be protected. And then 30 seconds later, it engages the intelligence and the mind, becomes intrigued by the recount of what that person heard. And so this is Shrotavya Kirtitavyas, and Cha means etc. or and. Deyam, which means dhimahi, comes from this word di, which means to absorb one's mind. And this is the most important, because in any of our activities, we have to be absorbed. And if we find absorption, then we'll have no pain, as the real pain comes from the mind. When the mind goes elsewhere, when we're practicing chanting, for instance, and the mind goes elsewhere, then there's this dichotomy. The mind's pulling somewhere else. But if we're able to achieve dhimahi, or dhi, full absorption in one thing, tasmat ekena manasa, the mind is in one place only, and it's on Krishna. It has to be the ultimate object of meditation. It can't be on something that's not Krishna. Of course, everything's Krishna, but we have this benefit of our teachings that the various features of Krishna, Vedanti tattvavidas tattvam yajganamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate, that there are various features of God, but the topmost is Bhagavan. So you can just do that. And then there are different energies of the Lord that are described. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in the Vishnu Purana, Vishnu Shakti Paraprokta, Kshetra Gyakya Tata Para, Avidya Karma Sangyangya, Tritiya Shakti Riji. So he's breaking it down. Three varieties of God, three varieties of energy. It's making it simple. Out of all those, there's the internal, external, and then marginal. So now you know who you are. You're marginal, and stick with the internal energy. Stay with Krishna. So then, tasmad ekena manasa bhagavan sattvatam pati shrotavya kirtitavyascha dhyeya. If you can come to this point of meditation, or fixation of the mind on the ultimate object of meditation, then your mind will be satisfied. More than satisfied, it will feel ecstasy. And what's more, dealing with the complexities of life will be easier and definitely tolerable. And then comes puja, which means a kind of worship. And dhyaya, puja, which means then you're privileged to have this urge that you want to do something for Krishna. Bring him a flower or offer something to him ceremonially or out of love. This kind of puja. And nityada, you should do this constantly. So this is the simple idea here, how one may enter into the internal potency, which is already there. We're already surrounded by it, but it's us who have to adjust ourselves to it. And that's the process of bringing our attention fully, ekena, one-mindedly, to the ultimate object of meditation, which is Krishna. So we can do that by chanting, and within the name of Krishna, and this is the doctrine of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everything is present. Within Krishna's name is also his form, also his qualities, and also his pastimes. Nam, Gun, Rup, Lila. All of them are there. So one can enter from that point into absorption by being in proximity to Krishna personally. Personal proximity to Krishna. The Shvetashvatara Upanishad says when we go into susupti or deep sleep, the reason that we feel refreshed when we come out is because we have some proximity to Paramatma. The rest of the mind calms down because there's no dreaming. And all we have is, so we wake up and you're like, why do I feel better when I wake up from deep sleep? It's like, yeah, you're hanging out with the super soul. But if you want to feel better about everything in general, all the time, 24 hours a day, then keep your mind on the ultimate object of meditation, which is Bhagavan. And not just any Bhagavan, it's Krishna. We have the parampara description of what Krishna is like in his sweetest form, where he has the most endearing qualities, and that's in Vrindavan, or Jagannath Puri, or Mayapur. Any of those three, take your choice. But those are the perfect objects of meditation, Krishna in those places. But you don't have to conjure anything. It's already there in the name. And so if we make these our mainstay, then there's no need for consternation in life. Otherwise, there is no help for us. There is no remedial measure, a stopgap measure which can assuage our sense of anxiety in the material world. It doesn't end. It's a constant. It's the nature of Mahamaya. But as soon as we cross over into Yogamaya, then we're naturally enlivened. And so preoccupied with the beauty of it that we have no inclination whatsoever to interact with Mahamaya. It's a kind of, it's an observation where we're able to observe the world clinically. We look and we see the interactions of material nature, as is mentioned by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita when he says, Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tatvivit pashyan shrinban spasanjan gran ashran gachan supan sasan pralapan vishnan grinan unmishan nimishan napi indriyan indriyarteshu vartanta iti taharayan. The person who's in this deep state of meditation on the ultimate object of meditation sees all the movements of the material world, even within his or her own apparatus of the material body, but sees it clinically. That it's just moving in various ways. It's not pulled into that situation thinking that now I'm doing this, now I'm doing that. He said, Naiva kinshit karomiti, the person that any time never thinks, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It just sees it's the movement of the material nature. And is fully absorbed in Krishna. And such a person lives in the world but is not touched by it. Iha yasya harir dasya karmana manasa gira nikilap yasya vastastu jivan mukta suichite. Such a soul lives in the body and is apparently iha in this world, but has nothing to do with it. So that's sounds lofty, but it's possible for every person because of the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who gave the one place to meditate. Now you may say, how do I remember Bhagavan all the time? Trinada pisuni chena, toror apisuni chena, iva suhishnuna, amanina mananena kirtaniya sadahare. Very humbly accept the process. Don't think I have a better idea. Just accept what's been given. And then stay focused on the main object of meditation. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And there's nothing beyond that. Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam, Kalauna Stevana, Steva Gatiranyata. There's no other process. Should I repeat it? No other process. One more time? No other process, except chanting the holy name, chanting, saying that's too simple. Well, there's a lot of philosophy behind it to explain how that works, and we just mentioned a few thoughts about it. So, one may transfer oneself, and it takes practice, to the internal potency. And that's what we're doing. And so anyone can be trained in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness to attain this. But it takes a lot of coaching, and you have to coach yourself. Everyone feels put upon by material nature, subjected to various miseries. Do you ever feel subjected to various miseries? Yes. Then change the subject. Because the subject of our mind is how to fix everything in the material world. That's the subject. That's why there's shops everywhere. Every shop is to try to fix some problem. And it doesn't matter how many you go to, it won't work. But if you come to this shop and you practice every day, meditating on the one object, the ultimate object of meditation. There's only one ultimate object. That's Bhagavan, and then it's Krishna or Lord Chaitanya. Same. Stay there. And then how do I do that? My mind's fickle. Chant Hare Krishna and listen to the holy name. Everything, all potencies, fully are available in that. But it has to be practiced every day, carefully. Then when the result comes, then there's a change of one's position in life. We go from the struggle of anartha nivritti, which is, how do I overcome this? Why am I being assaulted constantly by my senses? To a place, nishta, where it's noticeable that the noise has gone down. And one feels that one has a standing in spiritual life. It's noticeable. One has a standing in spiritual life and isn't being pushed around by the unwanted desires. They're gone. And then from there comes ruchi, which means that it becomes so enjoyable to chant Hare Krishna that's the main thing I want to do, not the last thing I want to do. Or not, I have to do this. It's when can I do it? How can I do it more? And from there comes a rare state called asakti. Asakti means there's nothing else I want to do, ever. And if I have to do other things, I really have to pull myself away to attend to them, but I have no real interest in them. And from there, that's when the change takes place. The heart gets exposed to the internal energy in a very special way. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said it's a ray of the internal potency. It touches the heart. It gives poetically. And he said it melts the heart. And then one lives in a different world, which means the heart then is experiencing mellows. Mellows means that emotions for Krishna, real emotions. This is reality. The emotions we experience in the material world come and go, and they're in relationship to the illusory ideas of our illusory objects of our affection in the material world. It's an indication of life, definitely. But there is a real emotion or ocean of emotions, sorry for that weird sounding cliche, in our hearts that is awakened by the internal potency, by our exposure, our diligent exposure called sadhana bhakti over time. It's pregnant with the potency of bhava. That's stated by Rupa Goswami. What is there in your sadhana, in your struggle for this? Rupa Goswami says, bhava. There's a very lofty idea, but it can be attained step by step. Fight the fight in anartha nivritti. Don't think that showing up for it, even if you have to struggle, even if you feel like you went through a boxing match, it was worth it. So nobody else is doing that. Everyone is just floating away on the waves of Maya. Most people think about doing it, but they don't actually show up. That's why whenever I see the devotees show up for the morning program, I say, here's the stalwarts. I know it's stalwarts everywhere, but it's just the ones I see in front of me. It's an unusual thing to actually show up for your sadhana, especially if you got other things to do. And nobody has anything else to do, right? You do it anyway. And from that awakening of emotion within one's heart, one has a real life. That's real life. One has a sense of attachment for one's relationship with Krishna and the devotees. It's reality. And then, of course, there are higher and higher stages, but that's something the devotee anticipates every single day, and it never stops. It only increases unlimitedly. That's a weird statement. It increases unlimitedly. It's the nature of pure devotional service. So we should be aware of the environment we're in. We should know that we're surrounded by an energy that is offering us an opportunity to come into our real state of life, relationship with Krishna. This gross body. You can't find any. If you stand in an airport, just watch everybody walk by, especially nowadays because everyone dresses like a slob getting on the airlines. But you just look and you can't find, oh, I'm getting kicked out. You can't find anybody that looks like the ultimate object of meditation. I've tried. I keep looking and I go like, nope. I've been to other countries too and it's like, yeah, people look much better here. But still I can't find, there's always some fault. But Krishna, Bhagavan, this is what we want. That's why everyone's searching everywhere. They want to see that person. And they're so disappointed. As you find somebody, you go, that's it. And then they grow old. Robert Redford, I think he's still alive. One of the most handsome men who ever lived. But now he's old, and people look at him and they're disappointed. Say, why'd you go old? And especially women who are very beautiful. When they get older, they try to preserve it through having some work done, and everybody knows, and it's like, yeah, you're trying too hard. Or they grow old gracefully, let their hair go gray and stuff, and everyone was like, people actually complain. They'll say, why are you doing this to us? Why are you exposing us to your aging process? We don't want to see that. We want the ultimate. Then look at Krishna. He won't disappoint you. That's so reassuring to know that there's an ultimate object of meditation and a way to do it. It's so tricky. The mind, for a few minutes, will go, yeah, I like this, and then, no, I'll go do something else. That's a nartandifriti. But if we learn Lord Chaitanya's doctrine, there's no other way, and stick with the real process, which is to really enter into the holy name, find the form, find the qualities, find the lila. Don't conjure it, just listen to the name and be fully attentive. That everything else will happen by the power of the holy name, because Nija Sarva Shaktis, all his potencies that are there with the holy name, everything comes to bear. And it's the only thing worth giving energy to in this world. Everything else is just maintenance. You do the best you can with what you have so you can survive. Kamasya nendriya pritir labo jiveta yavata jivasya tattva jignasya narto yash jeha karmavi. Bhagavatam says it. This is the advice of Sutta Goswami. He says, maintain yourself so you can have vitality. Keep a job so you're not unstable. Especially nowadays, it's so artificial standard of living that we're subjected to. It's horrible, but it's Kali Yuga. What do you expect? But do that to the best of your ability. Just keep in the game. That's what the verse says. Stay in the game somehow or other. Do what you have to do. Be inventive to stay in the game. Be smart about everything in the material world. Don't mess up and neglect it so that you become unbalanced in this world. Be as balanced as possible so that you can do one thing, and that is meditate on the holy name and be there present every single day for it. And then you won't have any complaints because you'll know how to solve things yourself. You don't have to go to the complaint line like everybody else. I saw a cartoon and it had these two things. There was complaints, a line from complaints. What was the other one? Something about appreciations. Everyone was lined up on one side. Everyone's complaining. But that won't end until we solve our own problem. We have to take the responsibility for that. let's take a few reflections or questions. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj, thank you for the nice class. I actually had a question regarding the activity of Narad Muni. So we know that he kind of instigated Kamsa to kill all children who were born within the last 10 days, I think. I don't know the exact number. So my question was, why he suggested, such gruesome activity where Kamsa had to, order his team to perform that heinous act, because we know like killing children is the most heinous activity. So can you please tell us about probably what could be Narad Muni's intention?
Narada understood Krishna's intention. He's his intimate devotee, and he also understood that Krishna's manifestation there was inevitable. Everything was going to unfold, but he wanted it to escalate so that everyone could get more benefit, so that Krishna could be there and unfold his pastimes. That's his main objective. And in the context of Krishna's pastimes, it's not that anybody loses ultimately. I mean, the gruesome war at Kurukshetra, as is mentioned in the Bhagavatam, everyone got liberation because Krishna was on the battlefield. And even Uddhava in one of his prayers is saying, actually, or maybe it's Vidura, but he says, I wish I was, or you correct me, whoever else has said this, that the demons are more fortunate than I am because they saw Krishna coming to kill me, coming to kill them at the last minute. I wish I had that benefit also. So those who understand the nature of Krishna's advent and what's going on, there's not some moral dilemma, because they know everything that's unfolding, everybody involved is getting benefit. What is, as we discussed yesterday, the killing of the Sadgarbha Asuras. For one who understands the context of what was happening to them, there's no sense of lamentation that the children were killed. They simply attained their forms to go on with their service in the universe after they met death. So Narada could see all that, and he also was excited for Krishna's pastimes to unfold more quickly. And he saw that would bring Kamsa's death more quickly also.
I see. And Prabhu, so you were mentioning that those children who got killed, they also actually achieved whatever destination they were supposed to achieve by being part of the pastime.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And many demigods had taken birth within the context of Krishna's appearance. And so then some go back to the heavenly planets to continue their work there because they're not ready to go back to Godhead. So there are many participants from different levels who are in Krishna's pastimes. Yes?
Hi, Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for an amazing class. My question is, when you take shelter of Gopinath, you come under Yogamaya. Like Yogamaya protects you and takes care of everything that you're doing. However, is it only for the devotional service that we offer to the Lord? Because, say, I'm both a student and like a founder. So, what part of my activities are controlled by Yogamaya and what comes under Mahamaya? Or everything becomes part of Yogamaya?
Everything becomes part of Yogamaya. It's just like when you get a pot of milk from Bhakti Farms. And then you take some yogurt culture and you put it in the pot. And you put it in a slightly warm environment. And you leave it. When you come back later, you'll find the whole pot turned to yogurt, the little culture. So in our lives, we have many activities. But for those whose main objective in life, tasmat ekena manasa, their ultimate goal is Krishna. All their other activities, you can work in a factory and maybe use a hammer and you hammer nails. Boom, boom, boom. That also is spiritualized because your life is for Krishna. So all the other activities that you're performing in life, you have children, taking care of them. It's also in the pot. Everything's transformed. This is confirmed in many places. I mean, Krishna himself just starts with the most simple point in the Bhagavad Gita. Says that whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, give away, do as an offering done to me. Whatever. You mean really whatever? Yes. Our acharyas say yes, whatever. Wherever you work, whatever you are now, whatever you have, you should offer that to Krishna. And Prabhupada mentions in the 18th chapter of the Gita in his purport that you work in some factory, you should consider this is my allotted work for Krishna. So yes, it all becomes consumed. And what's more, we find in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there may be times in your life when there are emergencies. And you have to take care of that emergency. And then someone say, well, how come you're not in that very moment attending to Krishna? Is that the acharyas say, no, that's absolutely reasonable in the life of a devotee. If somebody, for instance, a child becomes sick and the parent prays in that moment, Krishna, please save my child. And say, well, that's not pure devotional service. He said, no, it's all counted within that because that's the trajectory of your life. So you're all good. All right. Okay. I can't see who's up there. Tadiya Seva? Okay, Tadiya Seva. Go ahead, Prabhu. And then Vaikuntha Nayaka, because I passed that comment last time. He's definitely on there. Okay, go ahead.
Maharaj, can you hear?
Yes.
Um,
We can
So
even
wi-
see you
without-
too, which is unusual. Okay, go ahead.
Without Krishna Katha, without Bhagavatam, without the association of devotees, every day in the morning, life is like empty. It's like boring. I still remember for coming to Krishna consciousness in my engineering college days, every day night we used to go to some movie or the other with a group of friends, just to waste time or pass time. And the next day morning, we used to sleep so late in the morning, so wake up grumpy around 8:30, 9 o'clock. It's like life is. It's even though we entertained ourselves almost 2 to 3 hours in the movie, next day morning, we have our life is empty. Our consciousness is. It's not really. There is no sense of happiness. Satisfaction. But when we hear Bhagavatam, when we hear Krishna Katha in the association of devotees, we can see that satisfaction is there. We can see that happiness is there. That's a huge contrast between material life and a spiritual life. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for
It's
the
a
class.
very important point you're making, to see the contrast. This goes with the verse, vidyam cha yas, to see two things side by side. And when a devotee has this experience of the boring nature of the material world, tedious, dry, it's all been done before, it's the same stuff over and over again, recycled, and then feels the freshness of Krishna consciousness, there's a noticeable difference. However, one must also be careful, because as we continue, and this, if you live up to your potential on the actuary charts, and you make it, women live 3 years longer, usually, on average. Sorry to break it to everybody, but well, not to you guys, you're happy. If you live long enough and you stay in Krishna consciousness, you can also become bored with that. And so you have to remember the contrast. That's why it's important to hear and chant. If you get into Krishna consciousness, you take it for granted, you take a lackadaisical attitude, you can make offense. For instance, in chanting, you can just or the way we respect Vaishnavas, it may become perfunctory rather than from the heart. So it's possible then to think, oh, the same old thing. And then one may disparage devotees like, oh, those Mangalarti going 16 round chanting, following 4 regular principles. I'd done that before. I tried that. You know, that's the covering potency of Maya. You can be covered again. So one shouldn't take it for granted, the contrast. It's important to have this kind of sangha, to hear from you, Prabhu, about your experience and to remember that in our own lives, what the contrast is. Maya, externally, she looks very nice. It's attractive. Like, yeah, maybe that's better. Maybe that's better. And Krishna gives that always so that we can reaffirm our devotion to him and come to the safe side. If there wasn't an apparently viable opportunity, then we wouldn't be able to make this glorious stand in our life and say, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to cultivate Krishna consciousness and stay aware of Krishna throughout my whole life, and I'm going to stay aware of the contrast as well. We have to do that. Even monks have midlife crises. Better, as I've been saying, better to have it early and get back on track and make it to the last lap. I see people fall down in a race. You know, there's sometimes people, he fell down, he got back up somehow or other, he caught up, and then he won. You got to have a good strategy. And one of the strategies is to be aware of the fact that you can't take this for granted. Because Maya, Yogamaya, same thing. But if we lapse in our appreciation for Krishna consciousness and the contrast between Krishna consciousness and the dry material world, then we can also fall victim again. And that means we have to be vigilant. The price of freedom is eternal vigilance. Okay, Vaikuntha Nayaka Prabhu is making a comeback. He's the comeback head.
Dandas Maharaj, always Srila Prabhupada. I really like that point which you mentioned about 1 day gap is a bit too much for, you're saying, you mentioned that. I was reminded of one quote by some famous violinist who actually talks about the importance of daily practice. And he said that if I miss 1 day, I notice it. If I miss practice 2 days, my teacher notices it. And if I miss practice 3 days, the whole world notices it. So I think it goes very well with the point you also mentioned so many times about having a streak of having continuous days. You told us about the app also to do that. Yeah, Maya always attacks in small bits, I think. Not saying that, okay, you give it up forever. Just take a break. And then it is like that, the brahmachari and his loin cloth story. And you take a small, you give a leeway to Maya for a small thing, and then before you know it, it has taken over you.
Such important points. And I think that example of practicing music is apt. And that's what vigilance means. We also have to have some flexibility. This may sound contradictory, but it's not. Flexible things in nature tend to be stronger. And there's instruction by Krishna to Uddhava in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where he talks about controlling the senses. And he says, a horse rider, it can't always be yanking the reins back on the horse constantly. So he says, when you're dealing with the horse of your mind and senses, you have to be like an expert horseman. Sometimes he lets the horse go a little bit, and then okay, now. And so he advocates there also, he says, for instance, some people for controlling the tongue, because I'm going to control the tongue. I'm not eating for 10 days. Krishna talks about this to Uddhava. And then he says, okay, you did that, right? Yeah, I did it. Then the tongue comes back, says, now you owe me. Everybody knows this. Yo-yo dieting. It's the norm of the world, boga tyag. So we also have to be flexible with ourselves, because there is a way we'll become over-vigilant. And then we become fanatical, brittle, and then if we make a mistake, and we think we're off the mark, then we say, forget everything, I can't do anything. I'm useless, I'm always falling down. So that, I've quoted 1,000,000 times, Jata Shraddha Makatasu Nirvina Sarvakarmasu Veda Dukkha Makamams Pratyage Panishvara Tato Bhajeta Mamprita Shraddha Lorjara Nishjaya Jushamanams Tatam Kamams Dukkha Darkams Tagarian. Krishna acknowledges there is a point at which we may want to do all these things, but we can't. We don't have the power to do it yet. Pratyage means to give up something. Pranishvara, you don't have the power yet. So you know what to do, but you can't do it. And if we become morose because of that, just say I'm useless, then we may give up the process. And so if it's tricky, don't think Maya is not tricky. Maya is more tricky and smarter than AI. And you look at AI and you're going like, God, how smart are you, man? Because, yeah, she's actually a person. And so we have to be ahead of the game. The only way to be ahead of the game is to have your head in the holy name. That's the only way, because it's staying alive in Krishna consciousness is not from our own power or our own adroitness. It's from the power of the holy name. And it's our own sincerity in giving ourselves to the holy name that gives us that power to be smarter than, as smart as we need to be to stay ahead, which means that we have to know how to be flexible, I'm saying in this context, so that if we make mistakes or if we don't come up to the mark, we know how to find encouragement to come back up to that point. So yes, what if you missed a day? What if you broke your streak? You have to know how to come back. That's another topic. How to make a comeback. That's something we have to study also. You have to be the comeback kid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to give shorter answers now.
So, Prabhu, I just wanted to know talking about Dhimahi you had mentioned, I was just thinking and then coming back. Of course, I've been in and out listening, and I really wanted to ask this question. So I was just wondering that as you said, I always feel it's a sine wave. Some days you're like totally Krishna conscious. Some days I'm just so downtrodden. I don't know where I am, in anywhere in the spiritual realm. So when you said that give a break, does that mean that it's okay to let your mind do what it wants and then again hold it back? Like we were talking about the horse, because it does happen anyway for me. I don't have to let it go. I don't even realize how it went away and how I got it. And then I say, oh my gosh, I'm gone. I've been listening to one of the lectures on YouTube. I stopped looking at YouTube now because when YouTube lectures come, it starts with YouTube lectures and then ends with something else, and then I was just thinking about, there was some mass murder that happened in one of the temples somewhere in India, and all of a sudden I got so interested. Oh, what happened? How come it came in a temple? Who wasn't there? So then I was like lost for 30 minutes. And I'm thinking that when will I ever stop? That full stop never has happened. And I said, maybe I should start listening to lectures on SoundCloud now. So when you said that, let it go.
So the main point in Tasmat Ekena Manasa, one pointed means non-random. Random means that we didn't intend to go there. So parents are very intentional about their children. Yes or yes? Before the child gets to a point where he or she can walk around and pull everything off the shelves, the parent then goes and baby-proofs the house, right? So we have to baby-proof our life because the mind is like a little baby. And if we already know the algorithm of the baby mind, it's going to want to pull at stuff. So when you're in the right state of mind, you have to baby-proof everything so it's not random. So beware of randomness. What you're describing is you see something and then all of a sudden you're pulled into it because it just seemed interesting at the time. But if you have a plan and you build into your plan some recreation, Krishna says it in the Gita, yukta hara viharasya, yukta chestasya karmasu, yukta swapna vabodasya, yogo bhavati dukkha. He mentions recreation, recreation. You have to recreate yourself. Like at night, you're recreating yourself. Isn't it? At a certain point, you just give up. Sun's down, and you go, look, what's the use? I'm just going to go in, like switch it off, and then come back on again. And we may have to do that during the week. We may have to do that during the day. We may have to do it during the month or during our lifetime. So it means not do it randomly. Don't just get at the whim of something else. That's not what it means. It means that decide what are the ways that you can, in a very healthy way, get your recreation. And so plan that ahead of time. And then have those elements available to you in your life so that when you need a break, then you take a healthy break. It's just like eating. If you buy a bunch of junk food and put it in your house, you're going to eat it. At some point, you're going to eat it. It's like, no, I never eat that stuff. And then all of a sudden, you're like, why'd you eat it? Oh, I don't know. It's because you bought it and you put it in your house. So if you treat your life like that, holistically, and you find out what are the healthy kinds of ways I can get variety for my mind. The mind wants variety, but don't make it random. Don't let somebody else choose the algorithm. You choose your algorithm, what kind of engagement you want to, like your kids. They want variety. They're playing in this room, and then all of a sudden they want to go in another room and do some other thing. So, you have to have a plan for them, right? Like we're going to have a plan for Janmashtami. How many games do they have to have? A lot. And your mind also, you have to have a big plan for it. It's a big idea to, get through a day, a life. And so be really smart and figure out what are those kinds of things. So you want to watch a movie. Don't just watch any movie. Go watch the Nrsimha movie, right? Yeah. Or, I've had sannyasis, godbrothers, give me movies to watch, but they're purposeful. Like Deva Amrita Swami years ago gave me the documentary about the nephew of Sigmund Freud, who is the so-called father of public relations and modern advertising. I found it endlessly helpful, useful in my own service. And so, is that a deviation? It's not random. There's a purpose behind it. I know who got it from and why I'm watching it. It's not just eating junk food in the corner of the house. Okay, who is next?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, yesterday's class you mentioned, you read that the two kinds of things that we can aspire for. One that you mentioned in the class was that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, birth after birth, mama janmani janmani ishware, you wanted to serve Krishna. And there's also a verse quoted Narayana Parasarva Kutastan. So it feels little very far-fetched to think that you want to stay in this material birth after birth and serve. But going back to God, it seems to be like an acceptable goal for a person practicing Krishna consciousness. So what should we actually aspire for, and what should be our consciousness be when we are trying to serve?
In some ways, we already are back to Godhead. I mean, what else do we do besides come here to see Krishna? Any of you? Admit it. You don't really have a life beyond Krishna consciousness. That's all you do. You come here and, oh, Krishna, I'm so glad to see you. And what's the difference? You're already back to Godhead. And we hear about the ways that, when you go back to Godhead, you first have to go some place to get trained up. You're already there. That's what's happening right now. And you think, oh, that'll happen next life or something. No, right now. You're in the Sankirtan movement. Prabhupada said, that's an incarnation of Krishna. This is the Sankirtan. You're it. You're here now. So be in it. Just be where you are. Narayana paraksarvena kutaschana bibyati swarga pavarga narakeshu apitulyat. It's all equal. Because what else are you going to do except for chant Hare Krishna when you get there? You go to a trip to LA, you just plan out, well, we're going to stop and distribute books. You don't see road stop areas and Denny's restaurants and stuff like that. All you see is Sankirtan spots. So it's all encompassing. And if we just, tasmad ekena manasa, we just stay absorbed in where we are right now, there's no difference, actually. And wherever Krishna wants to transfer us, he knows what's best for us, and he knows what he likes, and we're happy to accommodate. And he knows our desires too. That's the beauty of the relationship with Krishna. He knows that we have individual desires. That's an amazing thing. He's a person, we're a person. We're part and parcel of him, but still we have that relationship. And he'll fulfill every desire we have, abhishta doham, in the ways to serve him. So if you have any anxiety, it's like, maybe I want to stay and do book distribution here. Because what if I miss the next wave, right? That's what you're thinking. And you go like, maybe I don't want to go back to Godhead. Maybe I want to see the next chapter of how Bhagavatam's uncover the earth. You want to be part of that, right? Yeah. Krishna will fulfill your desire in the perfect way. So we don't have to worry too much. We just have to be fully absorbed. Tasmat ekena manasa. Let it all work out in our relationship with Krishna. He knows what to do and exactly where to put us at the right time. And Prabhupada appreciated when devotees were absorbed in their service. In 75 or 76, Rohini Sutta, and I think it was Manidhar, they were really doing huge on book distribution, and they were in total samadhi in Switzerland. And they didn't come to Prabhupada told all of us to come to meet him in Mayapur and Vrindavan. They didn't come. Prabhupada said, where are they? They said, they didn't want to come. They wanted to stay on book distribution. Prabhupada was very good. He gave he gave him some personal article of his to take back to them. But it didn't mean the people were there were any less. They just had that mood. So Prabhupada appreciated. So it's not stereotype. Every living entity has a relationship with Krishna, and it's completely unique. And whatever your desire or combinations of desires are in his service, he'll fulfill them in a way that you could imagine that's better than what you could have expected. So you can leave it to him. Rishakapi. He showers the living being. He's inclined, for those who meditate on Krishna, this is what his name, Vrishakapi, means. For those who are inclined to think of Krishna, he showers them with blessings, he removes all their distress, and he fulfills all their desires more than they can imagine. Is that right? Okay, I forgot who was next. Oh my God. Yeah. Krishna Dave, not Krishna Dave.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. It's Krishna Dave, yeah. So I heard in a lecture that doing bhajan and chanting the holy name is the hardest thing to do in this time. And something I've struggled with is how to say no to other things. There are like so many things like work and friends and family and people and emotions and media and things that seem important at the time, like constantly vying for my attention. Or like sometimes I feel like, oh, I'm being balanced and this is an obligation or like a responsibility. So how do I, but I probably wouldn't remember it in a few years. So how do I prioritize and how do I not feel bad about saying no to things and people?
I know, I can relate. It's really hard. There's so many opportunities, and how do you balance all that? One thing I've done is to write my priorities down. It really helps me, because when I really take time to deliberately write down what's most important and prioritize it and put it in a list, then when things come up, I just compare it to my list, because you can't do everything and you can't be everywhere. You can't please everyone also. So you have to decide what's most important to you and put it on a piece of paper and then refer to it regularly. And then you keep gravitating towards it. It really works. Please try it. I'll take 2 more and then we got to go. 1?
I feel very bad. Like sometimes I don't invest.
You feel really bad because?
I feel very bad when I don't prioritize the right thing, like cooking. I want to ideally cook at home, then offer to Krishna and eat it. But then, like, I'm just so tired in the day that I'm like, I need to deal with kids at this point. I need to study for myself. And then I need to, rather I order from DoorDash and get something so that kids can eat it and I can just fulfill the responsibility, like minimal everywhere, so that I can get going and have my own oxygen mask. So how do I not feel guilty of things which I'm deprioritizing, like cooking, for example, and still feel that, okay, I'm doing right thing? Because when I eat that food, I feel bad that, hey, I didn't offer it to Krishna. I should have offered it. But I'm not sure. It's DoorDash, so is it cooked properly? And am I doing right thing by offering something which is not cooked at home? Or I have like a lot of thoughts going in my own head, like, is my kitchen clean enough that I'm cooking and now offering to God? Or can I be living a suboptimal way where I'm at peace, that it's okay to have little things, dishes, and then offer whatever I have cooked to Krishna?
Yeah, it's such a practical and important question. Thank you for bringing it up. We all live in complex situations, and when we feel bad about something, we can observe it and see what are some workarounds, what are some ways that I can reasonably tighten up what I'm doing in my life. And sometimes it takes a little longer to figure it out or to find a solution, but the very fact that you're worried about it is a good sign, because you'd like to have another standard. If you try to do it all at once and you torture yourself, then you might be out of balance. But if you make a note of certain places where you feel that you could make some improvements, and then you discuss it, oftentimes you have to discuss it with family. Like, for instance, you know, in some families, you're eating in a certain way. It's a big issue, eating what you eat, right? I mean, all of you have a certain, but in general, you know, if somebody says, I want to stop eating such and such, and then the whole family is like, what are you talking about? You know, we're not doing that. It's a big deal. So everyone is ensconced in the material world one way or another, and there's complexities. And you have to, it's like getting out in some ways is like, what do they call it when you have a bomb and it's got all these wires? And you're trying to, and you diffuse. Yeah, you're trying to diffuse a bomb. You ever seen one of those movies where there's wires going everywhere and they're like, red, yellow, which one? You know, and the timer's going tick, tick, tick. So our lives are like that too. So you find all these complexities, and then you have to figure out very carefully, like, how do I change this one just for eating and DoorDash and all that kind of stuff? yeah, just a name, DoorDash. You think of like, here you go, man, pay for this. And we drove it here at 80 miles an hour. What's in the food? Like, ah! So, then you make some arrangement and you think like, oh, maybe there's some other devotees. We might cook in quantity and then freeze it and then bring it back. Or, it may take you a while to figure it out, but you'll figure it out. But yeah, if you don't like it, change it and then figure out like what's the alternative to make stuff that you can offer to Krishna. And if you're in a household situation, it's a different standard of deity worship than in the temple. Prabhupada said, everything has to be first class. Then he said, no, it has to be better than first class. At home, of course, we want everything to be first class for Krishna or better than first class, but it's a more flexible standard. And you have to find ways that work with the flow of your family to offer your food to Krishna and so forth, so that you don't neglect it because it's too hard, and then bring everything step by step into harmony with what your real values are that you want to offer to Krishna. But don't be a fanatic about it, because then you might not do it at all. So that's my advice, is take one little thing at a time and find workarounds for it so that you can make it work in the devotional scheme of things. And that is our last point, because we got to go, right? So coming up is Janmashtami. Actually, today's Saturday, so we got tomorrow, Sunday program, and then next week we have Saturday. There's a program on Friday too. Then all day Saturday is Janmashtami, and then Sunday too will be engaged as well. It's Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja, and then there's a Sunday program, and likely people will come on Friday night too, because they'll think it's Janmashtami then. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev, if you so desire, please give us the intelligence to figure out how we can organize our lives so we can meditate on you exclusively as the ultimate object of meditation. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Vanchakalptaruscha kripasindhaveva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha anantakoti vaishnavini ki jai. We have an announcement. Go ahead, Pavani Bhakti.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I wanted to first of all thank all the book distributors for going for books every day. And one of the episodes I wanted to share about is with Vijay Prabhu. He had given a book to an Indian person, and the Indian person was they were just talking, and he told that I'm going to India, to New Delhi. And Vijay Prabhu told him that, oh, you're going to New Delhi, why don't you go to Vrindavan? So it was out of his schedule. He didn't have the plan to go to Vrindavan. Nevertheless, this person really thought about it, and he actually went to Vrindavan. And this person is actually a millionaire, Indian man, millionaire. He renounced everything just by that one interaction with Vijay Prabhu. And then he came to our home program. He lives somewhere very far away, Mountain House, I think. And he came to our home program, and because Vijay Prabhu shared the flyer with him and said, hey, there's a program happening, would you like to join? And on that day, there was Harinam going on. He came to Harinam first at Palo Alto, and after Harinam, he came to our home. for the program. And we have a lot of books on the display, different varieties of books, and nobody picks up the Prabhupada book, like a big book called Acharya, a very white book, and with Acharya, and he picked up that book and he was discussing that book with Vijay Prabhu, and JM Prabhu were discussing. So, and his wife was very nice, and his 2 children came, and these days I don't see actual physical books in any children's hands, and both the kids had actual books, like real books, not like a phone or anything of that. So the family is so pious, and just by that one interaction with a pure devotee, which Vijay Prabhu is, and it's really, I'm observing, I mean, it's, yeah. I personally realize that it is such a misfortune to not, I felt very much when, especially the last 4 or 5 sessions he has been doing with us every week, I felt like what a big loss that we've not had, that level of coordination with him, and that level of involvement with him where we can expose the newcomers to such a pure devotee like himself. So I wanted to let you all know that, Vijay Prabhu is really signed up, and he's helping us every week. And it's been amazing to see how he's transforming the newcomers. So, and he's a very, very, he has been doing this job for 47 years, and just book distribution. And last session that we had, the newcomers were asking him questions about his life, how he is doing this, how he came into Krishna consciousness. There were even homeless people started coming to our programs, and it's an immense experience to see how people are struggling and how we can give them a hand to help them in Krishna consciousness. A lot of people are extremely open. One girl came just from Harinam, like how Vrinda Sevika had come. She just came from Harinam and she came to the home program, and she loved the program so much. I spoke about her last week, and she said that, I'm really so grateful to you, and Vijay Prabhu was the speaker that day. I'm so grateful that you invited me to this program. And I have a new job next week. I may not come, but don't feel that I'm not interested. I'm really interested. So she just proactively told us that if I don't come, don't think I'm out of it. I'm in. And then she actually came even next week. So the point I'm trying to say is that, we don't know what people are going through. People really want this kind of association. We are making sure that we have this every week. So you as book distributors know that you can hand over a flyer that, hey, there's a program happening at this home. These are small gatherings, and they see people of all variety. One person biked to our home 2 hours, and how the bikers are. They don't look, they have this leather jacket, and they are different. There was a biker, there was this Iranian girl, there was this Prabhu who was the millionaire. So there are different varieties of people that are coming together, and they can resonate with at least somebody. It's not like all same looking people. So that's the power of association that we are trying to build. So we are really, really requesting you that please ask me what program is going on this weekend. I'll send the flyer. You can send to your newcomers and invite them to these programs that are happening on a weekly basis. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We are just less than 1 month away from our Bhadra Purnima, which is on September 7th. And our goal is to distribute at least 3,800 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. And this is our last lap. I think as soon as, Janmashtami is coming next week, it's a good time to introduce everyone to Srimad Bhagavatam. Wherever you go, whoever you see, whoever you meet, talk to them about Srimad Bhagavatam. We had wonderful experiences last week. We did Los Angeles Rath Yatra, and people are really actually interested in these books. We went to, I think, Dhira Prashanta Prabhu drove us to Malibu Hindu Temple in Los Angeles last weekend, because we were out there in LA. And Achyuta Kumar Prabhu, Namsmaran Prabhu, and where is Preeti Gaurangi? Okay, she's not here. She also came. And we were distributing Bhagavatam set at the temple, no permission, but we were just sitting. We just opened up the trunk and we started distributing Bhagavatam set. And one very nice gentleman came And then as soon as I said, this is Srimad Bhagavatam, he just kicked off his shoes. Generally, we do that in Jagannath Puri, but it was such a nice reminder. As soon as he kicked off his shoes, we kicked off our shoes. And then he was asking about Bhagavatam, and then finally he was interested, and then he said, how much is it? And we said, we only ask for $250 donation. Anything over that is your donation to the cause. And he said, I don't have cell phone reception. If you know Malibu Temple, there is no cell phone reception there. Only Verizon works. So he was looking and he says, I cannot give you donation right now. But a lot of people say that, and we think that, oh, maybe they won't. But he said, take my phone number and everything. And as soon as I cross 2 miles from here, the reception will come back and I will send you a donation. And then I believed it because he was very sincere. He took off his shoes and everything. After like maybe 5 minutes after he left the place, he sent me a donation of $300 and he texted me, my reception is back, I sent you a donation. So we met so many nice people, actually, so many nice people. And Preeti Gaurangi, she's not, I don't know where she is, she was here, but she distributed her first Bhagavatam set at the Malibu Temple, and she was so happy, and I was so happy just to see her that she distributed her first Bhagavatam set. And we met professors who said that I already have a Bhagavatam, and he brought his friend, someone there, he said, I want to give a Bhagavatam set for him. He's not a devotee, but he just wanted to give it. Oh, Haribol, she distributed her first Srimad Bhagavatam set here. Yeah. Thank you. And then he said, I want to sponsor for him. And that friend is saying, no, I don't want your sponsor set. And then he was not sure what to do. And that person was saying, let me sponsor for you. And he said, no, I will not read this. Please don't waste your books. Please don't do anything. And then that person stepped away for a few seconds. And he said, give me a set. I will convince him to take a Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's so nice to see more than ever that people are aware of Srimad Bhagavatam. Maybe 5 or 6 years ago, when we went out for book distribution and we asked somebody, have you heard about Srimad Bhagavatam? I said, what? What are you talking about? But now we see that because of the awareness increasing everywhere, people have heard about Srimad Bhagavatam either through some sampradaya or something. Because of the efforts that we are making to make Bhagavatam popular, everybody knows about Srimad Bhagavatam, and they're open to take it. They heard about it, they don't have it, but they're willing to take it. All we have to do is just try. So please go out last 1 month for the Bhadra Purnima. Do your best wherever you go, whoever you see, please talk about Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Govinda Prabhu has some story from Srimad Bhagavatam.
No, about the Bhagavatam distribution. Yeah. Is it okay? Hare Krishna. So we go to people's home for programs also. One recent experience was in Dublin. So generally we take one Bhagavatam for the host, because we know that generally they'll give some donation, it will be covered. So when we went there, they were a very pious family from Jaipur. They already had 2 Bhagavatams. And so he says, I have one in Hindi for my mother, one in English for me. Great. So then Shyam Sundar Prabhu actually gave a talk on Bhagavatam. And then we generally after that we make an appeal, who is interested, please, get in touch with us. So I thought, well, maybe nothing is going to happen. But one Mataji from South India, from Andhra Pradesh, she came voluntarily. She said, oh, I want Bhagavatam. So then they took Bhagavatam and they gave the full donation. They were just next door neighbors. And then there was another Mataji. She was very remarkable because, and Jagannath Prabhu was there. He talked to her. She was remarkable because she said in the talk, I've been reading Gajendra Moksham. I read it every day, she said. And then I don't know the meaning. What is the meaning? Can you explain to me? So then Jagannath Prabhu mentioned to her, we have the meaning and commentary as everything. Please take this. She said, yes. And then, so she took it.
And then she also gave the full donation. So it's very hard to know what kind of souls we are going to meet. Very evolved souls. And when we messaged her, this is the way to donate, etc., she said, thank you very much. And then she said, even if I can implement one verse in my life, that will be success. That is her level of consciousness.
Sharirat Vijaja Jodendriya Tahika Jive Pele Vishaya Shagare Dharma Devivayati Loba Mursudurmati Take Jita Katika Samsare Krishna Barodoya Moy Tori Bare Jiva Jai Saprasadana Dilobai Sheyana Vitapao Radha Krishna Guragao Premedato Shri Chaitanya Nita Premedato Shri Chaitanya Nita Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmadi Vaishnave Sabha Punya Padamraja Vishwa Sodada Jayate Prasade Sarvadhikanam Anirasyo Pajayate Prasanna Chetasu Yashu Buddhipaya Patishtate Kayapavita Swadganda Vasavankara Charchitaha Chishta Vojino Dasa Stavamayam Jayemahi Shiksham Prayushitam Bhati Diktam Bhati Deshata Bhakti Matrena Bhoktadhyam Nakakala Vicharan Nagrishariyamastatra Nakarariyamastata Bhaktamam Nakakam Shishter Bhoktadhyam Hayabravi Bhagavad Shri Mahaprasad Ki Gaur Premanande Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Please come take prasadam. Hare Krishna. There's a picnic area, newly formed outside. It's where we're going to build our new temple, right on that. You just go straight out here. Take a